You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes. Now your hosts, Cody Pennick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everyone, welcome to Nerd Overload, your favorite pop and geek culture show that I would like to announce, much like Facebook's name change to Meta, we are changing our branding to Gregor. G-R-E-G-R. Now, again, much like Facebook, we're still going to be called Nerd Overload. We are still Sam, Cody, and Josh of Nerd Overload. The logo is still blue and says Nerd Overload.
There is a silent Greg in front of my name now, though.
There is a silent Greg in front of Cody's name, yes. Yeah. But yes, for any official purposes, we are now Gregor. I'm Sam.
I'm Cody.
I'm Greg Orr.
I feel like Silent Greg is Silent Bob's cousin.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, hey, thank you all for tuning in this week. We have a great show for you, a bunch of news to go over. But first, let's talk about some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
Do you have a pet?
I pulled up the Frakes board.
Yes.
That was a quick one. I'm going to do another one here.
Have you noticed what big stars real estate agents have become?
No.
No. Another Frakes question?
Sure.
Have you noticed how many successful restaurants are theme-based these days?
Not anymore.
No.
Not so much. Not so much these days.
Remember when Long John Silver's used to be like the bomb and now they're just straight trash?
Oh, I would never. Not in a million years.
Really? Oh, I could go for some giant mutant shrimp right now.
Man,
they are like way oversized for real shrimps.
I mean, look at the chicken industry. But anyway.
Do you remember when they used to just sell a basket full of like the Crispins?
They didn't
like the drippings that came off of it?
They didn't even
You really channeled Frakes with that one.
Well,
do you remember when they used to sell the Crispins?
But here's the thing. The Crispies were like my favorite part.
Yeah.
But they didn't sell them separately. It wasn't until years later like, oh yeah, we can make money off this.
Oh no, the one in Marion on there in the north end of town. That one sold the Crispins for like $1.99, and they were.
It's like in Steven Universe. Give us the bits.
Just the bits.
They were the bits.
The bits.
They were artery clogging and delicious. But nothing beats the hush puppies. Anyway, let's talk about some things we've been doing this week. I actually checked out a brand new movie, a movie that came out not more than may have been this week, actually. It is a really interesting animated film. Definitely not for children. It was set out to be a adult themed, not adult themed, but like geared for an aimed animated film called The Spine of Night, and it is very much in the same vein as like a Conan the Barbarian, Hyborian Age, barbarianism, mystic sword and sorcery kind of thing.
Korgoth of Barbaria.
Yes, yeah.
Man, I wish that would have been a show. That's
right.
Another thing.
That one, yeah, that pilot was very good. But this movie, it's really interesting in that the animated, it's rotoscoped. So for folks who don't know animation, rotoscoping is when you film actors live in a studio and a lot of times it's trace them. A lot of times these days it's digital tracing. This movie was hand animated over top of live action actors. So you get this really weird, surreal, fluid kind of movement to all the characters.
Parts of the Disney Alice in Wonderland rotoscope? At least on
the first handful of their movies were. Like,
yeah.
I know Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, a lot of Snow White's like dancing scenes and stuff was rotoscoped.
Yeah, they would do it, but not all the time. Just for special shots, so
Yeah.
it didn't look weird.
Yeah, so this movie was entirely rotoscoped, and it is.
It does give that weird kind of look to it.
I would best just kind of compare it to either like the classic heavy metal movie or Ralph Bakshi's Fire and Ice, and the animation is really technically well done. Like the tone and the color palette and like the feeling and the mood of the film is really interesting. It is an amazing, amazing movie that I did not care for. And it's weird because I appreciate everything about it. It just comes down to personal taste. There's something about rotoscoped animation that hits that uncanny valley thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just human enough, but also inhuman enough that it triggers that part of my brain that goes, ugh.
That's why Disney didn't use it all the time.
Yeah. And it's the movie is in itself it's an anthology movie. It's split up into like 3 or 4, I think 5 different little vignettes set in the same
universe,
same planet that's not Earth, set over an expanse of time.
The same D&D campaign.
Kinda. It is kind of a D&D campaign, but it all has to do with this blue plant called the Bloom, and it is basically a font for magical MacGuffin. Basically, anything magical you want it to do, it can do. You want it to turn into fire and burn Patton Oswalt's face off, it'll do that. You want it to shoot electricity and mind control people, it'll do that.
You know, watching the trailer, I thought it was just drugs.
Well, it'll do that. A lot of it has to do with you eat the plant and it expands your consciousness to the point where it grants you like ultimate knowledge of everything, as well as give you mystical powers.
It's the
and all this
limitless
stuff.
pill.
Kind of a little bit. And there isn't much of a through line. There's a very, very thin through line. Basically, the main villain is around through it, and the plant is through it. It is the closest thing I can give is it is starring Lucy Lawless, in that she is one of the 2 characters that is in the wraparound framing narrative of the film, along with veteran.
She's the Lochnar of.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, and along with veteran actor Richard E. Grant, who does a really great job as like this aging guardian of the last plant, the last bloom left in this world, and it's inside the giant skull of this dead giant. And so, like I said, this movie is it's not for kids. Because much like the Ralph Bakshi stuff and the a lot of that Hyborian Age Conan stuff, humans seem to be made out of warmed up butter. Because oh boy, swords and axes and spears
just slide right on through
without any give whatsoever, which adds to like the trippiness of the film. But
it dices, it slices, it makes julienne fries.
There was a man's head who came into 3 pieces.
Ugh.
With 1 slice of a sword. It was like, and it was like, yeah,
like a Zorro Z.
Like a Zorro Z. But
I didn't realize steel became lightsabers.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but the
it's a vibroblade.
Kind of. Yeah. But it's a really interesting film. If you like kind of heady kind of things that are more style over substance, because there's really not much of a plot.
Like the first Heavy Metal.
Yeah, I mean there's a very, very thin, like there's one throwaway line about, mistaking the quest for knowledge with the quest for power, and like the main villain starts off as briefly as a scholar wanting to learn knowledge, and as he gained more knowledge and gained access to this plant, he became a warlord because
absolute power corrupts
kept
absolutely,
going across the land, conquering nations in search of more knowledge, and then more knowledge and more power and stuff like that. But that's not the point. The point are the visuals, and I'm a sucker for like weird, like cool color palettes and like starscapes and stuff like that, and there's a lot of that, and like a lot of blue neon against like a dark green and white palette background, like muted background with everything except for these plants that are like bright glowing blue, and anything that affects them is blue. It's really cool.
Is it better than Heavy Metal or not?
I would say it is.
Which Heavy Metal are we talking about?
Well,
Heavy Metal or
the good one, not Heavy Metal 2000. That one sucks. No, I would say it's not quite as good as Heavy Metal, but only because the nostalgia for Heavy Metal is there.
Although some of the vignettes in Heavy Metal do have like a plot.
Yeah, and this one, there are, again, very, very thin plot elements that go across it, but it's more...
Like the one
It's more
in
visual
Heavy
than
Metal
anything.
that's just the fifth element.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But no, this, I would say not quite there, but better than Fire and Ice. And that's high praise because I really like Ralph Bakshi's stuff. I am a weirdo for that weird man and his weird art.
I love Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is probably one of my favorite movies just because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, if you were... this movie isn't ridiculous. This movie is... It sets up its universe, and it is very grounded in the wild universe it sets up, but it doesn't go to that level. It doesn't reach that plateau.
Yeah. Like the first time you watch Heavy Metal, that you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like between vignettes.
This one, you have a pretty good idea what you're getting, and it's a lot of like the two main characters telling stories back and forth having to do with this flower and things that the warlord has been doing to gain power and using it for this, that, or the other. It's interesting. There is a miniature plot about, it's like these warrior scholars that go across the world finding books, and like they're like fighting for knowledge or something like that. And that's kind of a neat concept. I wish they would have done more in the movie with that, but that's like the second vignette in the film and it lasts for like 10 minutes. Like there's an entire movie right there, but they just don't do it. So I don't know. I didn't like it. I appreciate it, and I'm glad I watched it. I will not go back to it anytime soon.
I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
But you should, yeah. I think Cody, you'll definitely, Josh, I would recommend it for you because I know you like the sword and sorcery stuff. Then again, I'm also not that much of a sword and sorcery guy. I like my fantasy sci-fi and not fantasy. The other thing I've been checking out is the Switch expansion pass for the Nintendo 64. So we could talk about that a little bit.
I'm just going to interject real quick.
Yeah.
I looked at the list of games and stuff, like on the 64 and the Sega Genesis side. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they put Sonic 2, but not the original Sonic.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Like, don't get me wrong, Sonic 2 is a great game.
Tails.
Yeah.
It's because of Tails.
Yeah.
The Genesis side is actually super stacked. There's some great games in there.
And also Rise Star.
Yeah, and Rise Star. No, Rise Star is a great game.
Rise Star is actually a very good game. I played a little bit of it, and it's just as good as I remember it.
Castlevania Bloodlines and Contra Hardcore, those are two very extremely good games.
And I mean, in theory, the Nintendo 64 side is pretty stacked as well. There's
like 8.
There's some Maybe. Bangers. There's some pretty good bangers on that side. Like Ocarina of Time is a classic. Mario 64 is a classic.
Mario Kart.
I'm a little surprised Mario 64 is on there since they just released the Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
That was a good middle finger to me who bought Mario 64.
Well, that was them testing the water to see if people will buy.
I mean, to be fair, though, you do
it.
get 2 other games. So.
Yeah.
True.
But no, the one I wanted to talk about was I've been playing Zelda Ocarina of Time, and it's been a long time. It's been, I want to say, at least 10 years since I played Ocarina of Time. And, the game is still very good, but the emulation onto the Switch is bad.
It's not a hard game to emulate either.
It's not, and it's
not even the first time they've done it.
And yet the control scheme is bad, and it looks bad.
Like I saw a picture where somebody compared like the 64 version, the Wii U Virtual Console version, and the Switch version of the Water Temple. And the Switch version looks the worst. Like the water doesn't look right.
The water doesn't look right. Fog doesn't load in correctly. I mean, it makes the Lost Woods much easier to traverse because you can just walk kind of close to one of the holes, and it'll just open up instead of being like a pitch black thing. It makes it super easy to sneak through. But like, yeah, and on top of that, the controls. For some reason, okay, so granted, the Nintendo 64 had a weird controller.
Oh, it's awful.
It was it was not a good controller. I mean, it was interesting. It was different for the time, but
and they didn't have anything else to go on. Like,
they were guessing.
There'd never been like a 3D controller before, so this is as close as they got.
Doggone it, they tried, but the translation of the controls from the 64 to the Switch led to some questionable decisions for button layout, and it makes Ocarina of Time very frustrating to play, and it makes one of the games on the Sin and Punishment, which is on the Virtual Console, unplayable. Like
you can't move right and shoot right at the same time.
You have to break your hand to play the game correctly, and not like, I'm not being hyperbolic here. You would have to break your hand to get the buttons correct.
Everyone's been basically talking about how you can't strafe and shoot at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of that game.
Yeah, it's very important for Sin and Punishment.
It is. It's frustrating because they have been done better in other places with a similar button layout. It can be done.
Yeah, and then they could just let you remap the buttons, which is a basic accessibility feature that every game should have.
You would think.
I have only been playing the weird ones.
Okay.
I've played a lot of Winback because it was the only game in the set that I'd never played before.
Mm.
And it's surprisingly good for what it is. It's like a third-person cover shooter from a time when that wasn't a genre that existed.
Okay.
So it's really interesting. It's interesting.
Okay.
It has like real corny cutscenes, and it's made by Tecmo Koei's Omega Force.
Oh, nice.
The Dynasty Warriors people.
Oh, okay.
But the controls take a long time to get used to because it's like the first cover shooter ever made. But once you get it down, like, it's kind of interesting to see them take on these concepts for the first time for something that would seem like something an American developer would have done first. But it's pre-Gears of War cover shooting with like D-grade Metal Gear plot. I played some of Yoshi's Story because I hadn't played that game in like 20 years. And it's not great.
Sure.
The art and stuff is good, and it looks really nice, and it plays good, but it's still Yoshi's Story.
Yeah.
The weird platform game that you beat the levels by eating 30 fruits, and
yeah.
And you can beat it in a half hour because the way the levels work, that each world has 4 levels, but the level, you can choose what level you go to based on the number of big hearts you found in the other level.
Oh, weird.
And then once you do like 4 or 5 of those, the game's over.
Oh.
So it kind of has a weird, it's almost like Star Fox-esque.
Interesting.
Where you can kind of cheese the path a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you're meant to replay the different paths over and over and get a different score, which doesn't really fit that style of game platformer at all.
Yeah.
But it was neat to see it again after not seeing it for a long time, and the music is really good. And I played Mario Tennis, and that runs really well and is really fun.
Oh, that's good.
I have no complaints about Mario Tennis.
That's good.
And I played Dr. Mario, which is Dr. Mario.
I keep forgetting about Dr. Mario 64.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But Dr. Mario is hard. So
yeah.
I purposely avoided any of the big name ones because I had a feeling they weren't going to be good.
Up to par.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're not.
They're not.
Well, I was saying before the show, is like, I kind of wonder if they purposely gummed up the controllers to make people buy that wireless 64 controller.
And I had a very similar thought playing Ocarina of Time, and I think maybe wasn't the intended,
but it feels like it's going to be.
But there's someone maybe third or fourth down the line of Nintendo hierarchy that was like, this is the actual reason why.
Yeah. They're like, well, it doesn't matter because we'll sell them a controller, so we don't have to try hard.
Yeah.
We're not being evil. We're just not trying.
Which seems
we're not going out of our way to be good.
Which seems to be Nintendo in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
A little bit. I am concerned to see what they do with some of the other games
I'm
that
not
are
buying
going to...
that controller either. There is no way you're going to get me to buy another Nintendo 64 controller. It's a bad controller.
You say that, just like you said you weren't going to buy the Loftwing Amiibo.
I haven't bought any of those other classic game controllers, so
I have the original NES ones, and they feel awesome. Like they feel right. Like texture wise, like the way the buttons click and everything, it like brought me back to a place in my head where 6-year-old me is like click clack.
yeah,
on
the ones that came with the mini NES and the mini Super Nintendo were the same way. They put you right back there.
So you're saying if the Nintendo 64 controller felt right in the first place,
Yeah, which it never did.
which it never did.
It always felt like you were meeting it halfway.
Yeah.
well, because you always had to hold it halfway.
Yeah.
On this game, you hold it this way. On this game, you
Except
hold
for
it this
Kirby
way.
64, in which you had to hold it weird.
And Mischief Makers.
Yeah.
Which I hope they put on there.
That would be great. Yeah.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
What I have heard is, so I guess one of the first Mario parties is coming to it at some point, and they're leaving in one of the control things where...
No, the new Mario Party that just came out.
Oh, that's what this
has
is.
one of the old games in it that messes up the palm of your hand.
That breaks your hand and the controller when you
Yeah.
play it. Yeah.
Especially with as weak as the Joy-Con stick
Do we
is.
want to talk about that now? What game was it? It's like
There's a couple in the first Mario Party that any of the games that involve rotating the control stick as fast as you can. It took any kid 2 games to figure out, well, if I put my palm on this, I can do it faster. But it also ends up burning the palms of your hands.
Yes.
And breaking the controller. Which I have a couple 64 controllers that are like a little janky because of it.
I mean, it kind of reminds me when one of the Dragon Ball Budokai fighting games, might have been 2 on the PlayStation 2, where you would get into like power clashes in the game and you had to rotate both the thumbsticks.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
And so I would put my hand across like this and go like this across the 2 thumbsticks. I ripped the rubber thumb grip off of them, and the plastic dug into my palm.
Oh yeah, I remember getting little Nintendo 64 stigmatas on my hands from playing Mario Party.
Yeah.
64 stigmata.
It got so bad that Nintendo got sued, and they had to send people these stupid fingerless gloves to play Mario Party.
so you can play. I remember I've seen those online. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't remember that at all.
Dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
They're
yeah.
just like sports gloves.
With like the Nintendo logo
No,
on
they
them.
don't have. Unfortunately, they're not branded.
They're
Oh,
like
that's-
lifter's gloves or
That's even
whatever.
that's even lamer.
Well,
But they put the game back in, except now it has a warning that says, "Hey, don't use the palm of your hand, dummy."
hey, don't do. But you know what? By putting that warning on there, they're introducing an entire new generation of people going, "Oh, you can do that." And it'll go fast?
They might as well be like, "Don't do this the optimum way."
It's like, hey, doctor, it hurts when I do this.
Well, don't do that,
Don't
dummy.
do that. They also had a mini game where there was like a wind-up fly guy, the Shy Guys with the propeller.
Yeah,
on there,
yeah.
And you had to spin it as fast as you could in like 30 seconds, and it would go further the faster you spun it. I remember just rubbing the crap out of my hand on it, doing that too.
Oh, man.
Memories.
Yes. Do you remember when video games actively took health bars off of your own life?
There's people who have literal scars on their hands from it.
Oh, I bet.
I don't know how I dodged it, but I don't have
The thumbstick bullet.
Mario Party scar.
Yeah.
How'd you get this? Wild party. It's a wild party, bro.
I was just thinking of the Joker. How do you know how I got these scars? And he holds up his hands, and there's 2 tiny backwards ends on his palms from where he's played Mario Party.
We have to stream the new Mario Party.
We do. Yeah, we'll have to do that for sure.
So I've got a quick.
It's gonna have to be very quick. We're running short
Yeah.
on time.
So we watched this really bad horror movie that we saw somebody on like TikTok talking about or whatever. It was on Tubi.
Okay.
All good media is on Tubi.
right? Called Llamageddon.
Wow.
I like it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's straight bad. They really love shooting goo or throwing buckets of blood or whatever.
Okay.
It's about a space llama that kills people.
Love a good goo movie.
And one of the characters in the movie, every scene transition, he's wearing a different shirt.
Nice.
Like at one point, he goes through a door in the house and it shows like the interior of the house and he's wearing a completely different outfit.
Excellent. Now, was this purposely bad or accidentally bad? Because that will determine whether I watch it or not.
It might be both, honestly. I don't know. There's one point where somebody gets beat to death by the llama and all they have is like these sticks covered in like fur and foam that are colored like the llama that they're like,
Okay, well, that's all right. That's all right.
And like the llama like spits on somebody and mutates them into a weird llama person hybrid.
Okay.
So you got your body horror in there too.
Yeah, but then there's like an animated bit where the llama assaults this person and they start laying space llama eggs.
Oh.
All right.
And there's the line, and they've crossed it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a straight trash movie.
Now,
like it was a huge stinker.
Question: did they use Winamp at any point during this?
Oh, because Winamp beats the llamas,
But yeah, that's
I
a
don't-
bad joke. I'm
Yep.
going to cut that one
I don't
out.
remember that, but
that was the slogan for Winamp.
Yeah, when you would download Winamp for the first time, it had one audio track and it would always play Winamp. It whips the llama's hinder.
I used Whammy. I don't remember that.
I remember that. I got the joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. Leave it in.
There's some weird like bits in there.
It sounds like it.
There's like a whole group of people who get killed in a hot tub because the llama like pushes like a radio into the hot tub or something.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. It's a weird movie.
I just want to say the best goo movie of all time is The Stuff.
The stuff is
Dude, I love
very
this stuff.
good.
It's
I
like-
love this
Yeah,
stuff.
that's a fantastic movie.
killer marshmallow.
Yeah.
that part where the
love-
guy's like face like extends and he's like, ah.
I unironically love this stuff.
That's a classic. That's a classic.
Followed by Street Trash, which is also a
That
good
is
goo
also
movie.
a very good like body horror melting
Yeah.
movie. Hey, let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into some news.
Nerd Overload is sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes. MB Subculture is the one-stop shop for all your geeky needs, from comics and collectibles to unique custom costumes, masks, makeup, and more. MB Subculture is located at 122 West Rensselaer Street in downtown Bucyrus, 567-806-5364, and online at subcultureoh.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play here on WZMO. I just wanted to take a minute to assure our many fans and listeners that my staff and I take our job seriously here at WZMO. We will always strive to bring only the highest quality audio entertainment to you and yours. Who am I kidding? We just grab whatever album's on top of the stack. Join us every Friday at 11 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. for Long Play. Tune in to see what we've come up with this week. Catch us every weekend right here on WZMO.
Hey, we're back. That was the break, the part of the show where we don't talk about stuff and somebody else does.
Welcome back to Gregor,
Yeah.
powered by Nerd Overload, or flip that around. I'm not sure.
Welcome to Nerd Overload powered by Gregor.
Let's talk about some news.
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?
More Frakes.
A Gregor exclusive.
Wrong.
I feel like you were just waiting to use that one.
No.
Number one, go take a seat.
You don't know what they are, do you? Aren't they? Do you know what they are or not?
I just know that's the questions or the no's. I don't know what they say.
Okay.
It's false.
No, Frakes, that's true.
Anyway,
news.
Bit's done. Let's move on to news.
You know it was a good bit when you end it by going, "Bit's done."
Yep, that's it. Yep. All right. Yeah, let's start from the top. So, Dune did good in theater.
I haven't watched it yet.
Theater or streaming or whatever.
Yeah.
It did good in terms of how movies do now in the world we live in today.
Yes, and it did well enough to get a sequel, which is more than the original Dune can say.
Well, I from what I was seeing online, like this version of Dune is just half the story. It's not even the whole story of Dune.
Yeah.
I heard from my mom who did watch Dune that this ends about halfway through the book. So like exactly where I am in reading the book is pretty much where this ends.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which means not a whole lot happens, I guess.
You go
It's
you
probably
go
a
to
lot of
Spice World.
Yeah.
If you want to be my lover.
I was about to make a Spice Girls joke because of Spice World.
You gotta get with my worms.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta put your hand in the Gom-Jabbar.
You really, 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 really want to make the spice flow.
Something Quisatch Haberdash.
Haberdashery.
Haberdash.
We're making hats now?
Okay, let's
the
move
best
on.
hat
Here we
maker
go.
on Arrakis.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching Dune. I mean, it's
been a really long time for me. I remember virtually nothing of it other than Patrick Stewart was in the first movie.
I tried watching the original movie and I tried reading the book and I stopped very early on in both.
It's not an easy read.
No, it's not. It's
But-
also not an easy watch.
But it does so many cool things at the same time where
Yeah.
it's like it's a constant balancing act between like, do I want to keep slogging through this? Or do I want to go watch Star Wars, which is this but for dumb people?
So is reading Dune like its own Gom-Jabbar?
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. That's all I know about Dune.
You put your hand in a box and it hurts.
Yeah. Much like reading the book Dune.
Except it's your eyes.
Yeah, your brain.
Can you imagine if Dune starred Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
As the Kareem Abdul-Gom-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticking his hand in the Gom-Jabbar.
Well, we found the episode title.
We did. That's it.
I don't know. It looks visually fantastic.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, I guess you can make blue-eyed, desert people look great.
Yeah, you can give Zendaya all the blue eyes you want.
Sure.
It's CG.
And nose snorkels.
That is a still suit, and it recycles your body's moisture, so you don't need to drink as much.
And die on the desert planet.
Yes. It also recycles your poo-poos and your pee-pees. And then,
You mean like in the Harry Potter universe? Which is a real thing?
yes, but not as stupid.
Fair.
So
All
like in
right.
Waterworld.
We are getting close. We got to move on. All right. Next topic. Pikmin Bloom.
That's right. If you like Pokemon Go and are aware of the Nintendo franchise Pikmin, which already cuts down the people who might enjoy this by quite a bit,
To almost none.
almost none. There is a new AR GPS style Niantic game based on the Nintendo franchise Pikmin.
Hey, do you like Pokemon Go but like doing less in it? Then you're going to love Pikmin Bloom. I downloaded this thing, and you know what? It's like boring Pokemon Go with less to do. I'm going to play it for about a week, and then I'll probably drop it because I'm giving it a chance.
Is count your steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's all it really does. And once in a while, the Pikmin you have already grown or whatever, find either more Pikmin or seed, fruits, or whatever.
Yeah, which you feed them to get more petals.
Which
And then
I'm
you
still
walk
not sure what that's
When you walk
for.
around your neighborhood and have the petal thing on, it plants flowers that other people can see in the world.
Oh.
Which that's kind of neat, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of neat if people continue to play this game.
Yeah,
but
if
they're
there
not.
were anyone else playing the game, but there's not going to be because nobody likes
nobody.
Pigman.
I mean, I feel like we're the only people in this town that probably.
I will say this: it is better than Harry Potter Unite.
It is better than any other Pokemon Go knockoff I've seen.
Yes,
which is not saying a whole lot.
No, now wait a minute. Did you play Garfield Go?
I did. I threw
where you can
those
walk around
lasagnas in those bowls.
Yeah, where you can throw lasagnas in bowls and get single panels of old Garfield comics from like 30 years ago.
Probably more than that now.
Yeah.
You can't play the game on Mondays because
canonically that should be the rules.
yeah, just not allowed to play it
Yeah.
on Mondays.
Server maintenance should always be on a Monday. You know, which makes me really sad because they have that Transformers one coming out that Niantic is doing.
Yeah.
And it's going to probably be straight trash.
I'm going to try it as well because I'm always going to try these games. They're free.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd come up with some other gameplay mechanic for GPS AR games. There's got to be something else you can do other than walk around and collect garbage.
But why innovate when
people are already going to do
people
this.
already do the thing that makes them the most money?
True. I've been thinking about it and like, why isn't there a game where I walk around and it draws lines and it's like weird slow Tron light cycles?
Pokemon Go is getting that.
Oh.
Yeah. That's paths. They're adding it soon, and you can set up you can actually like set up a start marker and an end marker, and it will like track your path so that you can remember a certain like walking path or something like that. So it is getting it.
What's the purpose though?
So that if you're like going to go for like a regular walk or like a jogging path and you find a particularly good one, you can actually like mark it on your thing so you can see, oh, this is where I went last time and it was had a nice view, or it had an extra couple of stops or something like that.
Sounds like another
And
way
it's-
for them to collect data about what you're doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what all this stuff
Yeah.
is. I mean, listen, they're stealing our data.
Want want.
Want, want. But hey, you get to catch a Pokemon while they're stealing your data, so whatever.
I mean,
they're going to get the data
one
way or another.
it's
So
no Digimon, but anyway.
yeah. All right, next up, Lightyear, the trailer. I did not watch this.
I'm actually kind of intrigued by this.
It looked fun.
I think it looks good. So basically, is it a movie or is it a series?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Okay, so this movie is coming out from Pixar and Disney, and it's the in-universe movie or whatever that inspires the toy within the Toy Story universe.
So it's kind of like a meta thing. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie within a movie's universe. Which
this would be the movie that young Andy would go see and
to
then-
get excited for.
to get excited for the toy.
Yes.
So it's like a retroactive toyetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I misunderstood it, and I thought it was a biopic of the astronaut that that inspired Buzz Lightyear. But then I saw this trailer, and I'm like, wait, he's meeting aliens? What kind of repercussions does this have on the Toy Story universe? But then it's like, oh no, that's not what it.
My
That's
question
not
is,
what it
what
is.
kind of repercussions does this have on the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the animated series, which also happened and
I forgot about that.
was an in continuity show based within the Toy Story universe to sell toys to young animated children.
I bet that Pixar is going to throw that in the trash
Probably.
because they had very little to do with it.
It really makes me wonder, like, are we going to get, like, a Woody's Roundup?
That'd be kind of cool.
I'd almost rather see that. And I don't know why, because I like sci-fi better than cowboys, but I guess I just like Woody better than Buzz Lightyear is what it comes down to.
I think you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You are a toy.
Now, at what point in the Lightyear movie will Buzz Lightyear, played by Chris Evans, going to disguise himself as Mrs. Nesbit?
Rips his arm off.
Yeah. But no, seriously, if he does that in the movie, it will then retroactively set up why Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 1 goes nuts and starts calling himself Mrs. Nesbit.
I thought that was because Sid's sister was calling him that.
Change continuity, whatever. Who cares? Throw it out the window.
You mean like
Everything has to be connected.
How Buzz got thrown out of the house anyway?
Yeah.
When he threw him out the window.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't look bad, but I also think it doesn't need to exist.
No.
I would like, who asked for this?
Who asks for anything?
Sure.
Nothing has to exist. No one asks for anything. I'm fine. I'm cool with this. I'll go see it.
I think it looks interesting. I liked the realistic take on the Buzz Lightyear iconic spacesuit.
I mean, they have to try to keep the Toy Story IP going, but they've pretty much done all they can do
With the characters from the in-universe movie.
They've told whatever stories they're going to tell with the toys from Toy Story.
Yeah, this is better than making a Toy Story 5 or whatever.
Which would
6.
seem almost,
I don't even
it would
know.
be 5, and it would be, because if they did a 5, it would be almost like a regression for a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
I never even saw 4.
4's not bad, but
It's-
it definitely kind of ends the storyline.
My problem with 4 is that 3 ends the storyline definitively.
True.
And then they had to open it back up. And
True.
it felt like a regression for some characters.
3
Like-
made me cry, darn it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like in the incinerator and stuff, and they all start
no,
holding
the end. The end
yes.
is what got me.
Oh.
Yeah, that one also got me.
Oh yeah, when Andy gives the toys to Boo from
From
Monsters Inc.
Is that who that's supposed to be?
No, it's not actually.
I don't know, man.
It's a separate character.
Is she?
That would be
'cause
great, though.
Oh,
Because they're really good about connecting a lot of stuff. I mean,
They're good at Easter eggs. They're
Well,
not good at
yeah.
connecting things. There's a difference.
true.
we don't need a Pixar expanded universe. Please let these.
I think
things-
it already exists.
Well, now that you've said it,
Yeah.
you have put that bad juju into the universe. So now it will exist.
You see Sully in Brave.
In like a drawing, right?
Yeah, in the witch's cabin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an Easter egg. That's not continuity.
Wally's in Cars.
Cars is the world after Wall-E cleaned it up, and people don't live there anymore. Only Cars.
If a car gets sick, do they go to a doctor or a mechanic?
Why do we drive in parkways and park in driveways?
What's the deal with talking cars?
Anyway.
Tell me about the Cowboy Bebop shorts.
Well,
it's like an
they've
extended
put out
thing.
two things.
Two, okay.
There's-
I only saw the one.
There's a short, like a goofy short, and then there's a legitimate trailer.
Okay.
So the short is called Lost Session,
Yeah.
where it kind of like introduces like the personality,
The personalities, yeah.
the kind of the personalities and how the characters are going to interact with each other in a really stylized look.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was really neat. I really liked how Fourth Wall-E breaky it kind of was.
It was really Scott Pilgrim-y.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was incredibly Scott Pilgrim-y.
Oh yeah, it like toe to tip. It was a Scott Pilgrim, just without Michael Cera.
Which is arguably better.
Yeah.
I love that movie, but I don't think he's the best casting for Scott Pilgrim. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
He may be the worst part of Scott Pilgrim.
It's true.
I mean, I understand the whole point of the movie is Scott's growth, but he was just a real tool through
Jesse Eisenberg would have made a better Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Because he's Michael Cera with more acting range.
Yeah. That and not Scott Pilgrim. Michael Cera's too gee whiz.
Gee whiz
Scott-
dopey.
Yeah, and Scott Pilgrim is a little more
Of a trash man.
yeah.
He's kind of a trash man.
Yeah. Anyway, so Cowboy Bebop. Lost Session was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was, it was fun. It got me excited. But then they dropped the actual trailer for the series that comes out in November. And you know what? I'm excited. I'm invested.
I thought that the second trailer was more in line with the show, what the show is actually going to be like,
Oh, yeah.
and more in line with what the anime is like.
Yes. Because the anime was always really good about cutting between like some serious cool action stuff and some kind of like comedy.
Yeah, and Faye floating in space ran out of gas.
Yeah.
I've been watching the anime. It's on Netflix now, so I'm like, well, why not go back and watch it, in order like it was intended to be watched.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surprised it's really good.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like one of my top favorite animes of all time.
Yeah.
Always has been. I've always loved Cowboy Bebop so much. I always thought I really liked the universe. I really like how everything was. It was great. And then watching the new trailer and seeing like a bunch of the scenes they throw in, there's a lot of touchstones where they like, hey, I remember that. I remember this character and that character and this interaction.
There's a trio of like 3 old men that show up repeatedly through the anime.
Yeah.
The weird thing is one of them has a red and white hat with a red N on it, like it's Netflix.
Oh, interesting.
He's got a Netflix hat.
All right.
30 years before Netflix was even a thing.
What? Is there an N on his hat?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's weird.
I have no connection to this show. I've never seen any of the show.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I honestly think you would.
It's definitely not a very anime.
The more people tell me that they think I'd like it, the less I'm likely to watch it. I don't know why. I'm just contrary like that, I guess.
I get it.
The first trailer, the little short that I watched, looked very interesting. I think the costumes they still look like cosplay to me. They don't look like something actual people would wear or adaptations. Like if you're going to do a live action adaptation, and this is just things in general, not just with Cowboy Bebop. Again, I have no connection to this, but do something a little different. Don't just carbon copy some things.
Yeah, Faye's outfit's different, and we haven't heard the end of that.
That's true. And I guess, but
it's
I
actually
don't know.
a really good adaptation of her outfit that doesn't really make a lot of sense on the show.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I don't know. I just think that their costumes are just wacky enough that they look like high-end cosplay.
Yeah, but I feel like because you can't really do Spike's iconic hair, the next best thing you can do is give him his iconic suit.
I think it matches the kind of like the hyper reality that they seem to be in this show.
I suppose maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I don't
like
have
how
a connection to it.
People have been complaining that Faye's outfit isn't skimpy enough, and now she's
that's
about
dumb.
her sexuality. She spends the entire first episode that she's in almost in a very non-revealing blackjack dealer's suit.
Yep, because she's grifting a casino.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So most of the people complaining about it, I feel like probably haven't watched it in 20 years.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was interesting in the trailer, and it's something they changed from the original series, is Spike's talking to somebody he knew from his past, and they talk about how he faked his death or whatever, because in universe he used to be he was part of a cartel syndicate thing. He says, I go by Spike now, versus in the original series where that was just his name and not like an alias. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Okay.
But then I saw like other parts in the trailer where I'm like, like the Teddy Bomber and then like the eco-terrorists with the monkey virus. And I was like, oh, all right, this is going to be great.
I just watched that episode last night.
With the eco-terrorists?
Yeah. It's a goofy show.
At times. I mean, Mushroom Samba is probably one of my favorite episodes in the entire run, where the episode is 90% people tripping.
Okay.
I mean,
that's awesome.
It's hard to truly explain the show without giving away too many of the.
That's fine.
It's Space Lupin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get that.
Okay,
I do get that. I understand that reference.
It's Space Lupin.
All right. We have a couple of quick hits here. Brandon Fraser. Did I say Brandon Fraser?
You did say Brandon Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. Sorry, Brandon Fraser, whoever that
brother
is.
Brandon.
Oh man, can you imagine if Brendan Fraser had a brother named Brandon Fraser, and he was like some accountant or something like that?
Yeah.
And people mistake him for the actor all the time.
He was still like he looked like Brendan Fraser in The Mummy.
Yeah,
but was an accountant.
Mm-hmm. But Brendan Fraser is going to be in the Batgirl HBO Go series.
HBO
Max.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Oh, is it a movie?
Straight to HBO Max movie, which is weird, but
it's
whatever.
Weird, and it's set in the Birds of Prey universe because the rumor is they're doing this in order to set up replacing Margot Robbie with Batgirl in a Birds of Prey sequel.
Okay, yeah.
That is the rumor. Anyway, And Brendan Fraser is playing classic Batman villain, the Firefly, who is basically a bug-themed guy.
Arsonist, right?
Who's an arsonist.
Yeah.
Though his outfit itself really, like, it does have bug-like elements, but he doesn't really look like a bug man.
No, he looks...
It's a silver suit with wings.
A black suit now.
Oh, okay.
It's a black suit with wings and like a gas mask that makes him look kind of like bug-like, and then he has a flame gun kind of thing. So a Batman villain that's not supernatural or anything like that, which is cool. Cool. I'm in for it.
But also, he's Robot Man, though.
People can be multiple things.
And also
He was also Lieutenant
Prey.
Flag or Falcon in the G.I. Joe movie. Who cares? He can be multiple
But
things.
no, I meant more. He already exists within the DC universe.
Does Doom Patrol take place in the?
Doom Patrol's its own separate thing.
Yeah, I was
man.
gonna say.
It's so out there. It's its own thing.
I like the idea of a Birds of Prey that doesn't necessarily have Harley Quinn in it. They don't need her to carry the movie.
No, I think they did
I recently
a good
just
enough
watched
job.
Really Birds of Prey for the first time, and I liked it.
Oh yeah, it's
and they're
really
also
good.
doing a Black Canary series, I thought, or a limited series,
or a movie. I don't
or
remember.
a movie.
Which.
They
was
weren't
something-
too specific.
I don't
but
know.
it has Journey Smollett.
Yeah.
As
Who I really enjoed her character.
Yeah.
Oh, she was great
She
in
was
Birds of Prey.
a highlight.
Though
She's great in everything that she's in, honestly.
that take on Black Mask was really weird.
I'm fine with it.
It was
Black
good.
Mask
I
is-
liked it.
How like weird and kind of
It was,
manic he was.
That's fine.
Ewan McGregor,
Ewan
right?
McGregor.
Yeah, he was really
He
good.
did an excellent job.
That movie deserved more people to go see it.
Yes.
I liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
Hey, speaking of Margot Robbie, apparently there is a live-action Barbie movie being made starring Margot Robbie and Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, it wasn't Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is
It
the
was,
other one?
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, the other one. I get those two mixed up.
I can see it.
Yeah, they're similar looking dudes.
Yeah, but they are going to be in a Barbie movie. Fine.
That sounds funny.
All right.
That could be good.
If they take kind of like a sarcastic kind of take on it or something.
If they take like an Aqua approach to it.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you know the song's got to be in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It better be in the opening.
As much as Mattel hates it, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, hey, why not?
I hope that they spend the whole movie like walking around weird because their
Like all
knees
stiff.
don't bend. Yeah.
Oh man, what if this is part of the wider Hasbro?
No, it's Mattel.
It's
Barbie's
that
Mattel.
that one's Mattel. That's right. What else? What other toys Mattel? Is that Stretch Armstrong?
It could be.
I don't remember.
Oh man,
I don't remember.
that would be great though. What if they do a Barbie movie that is in the same vein as Riverdale? Yeah. Like weird Twin Peaksian.
Yeah.
Like weirdo stuff. Oh, that was a check 'em out I had. So I've been watching a YouTuber named Super Eye Patch Wolf, and he did a like 45-minute think piece on the first 4 seasons of Riverdale and how it went off the deep end to the point where it went from being a mediocre teen drama show to the Room level of like wild and crazy. Like the town millionaire is a boxing champion who regularly beats up on Archie Andrews.
Yeah.
Teenage Archie Andrews. Also, they go to World War II war, even though there are laptops and cell phones.
It was kind of like, in Bates Motel where like some elements were like, 70s and other elements were modern. It was just weird to look at.
That part where Hiram Lodge fights Archie in a cage match, though.
Uh-huh.
Like, I remember watching it and being like, whoa. And then all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute. This is a grown adult man beating up a teenager.
He's living the dream.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have season 3 when there are multiple cults.
Yeah.
Multiple cults.
Multiple
Yeah, they
cults.
harvest people's organs.
One of them, and the other one is a haunted game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep. It's dumb.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really
Yeah, it's
stupid
great.
and dumb.
It's great.
Archie goes to prison for a while.
What did Eye Patch Wolf call it? Beautiful boy prison?
Let's see what else we got real
And
quick.
it's called Shankshaw.
Shankshaw. Yes. Yep.
God.
Yep. Let's see. We made a joke about the Facebook Meta thing. This is less funny and more dumb. they're basically shuffling around their names of their companies like Google did with Alphabet. And some of the other stuff. It's basically a shell game in order to avoid being broken up. This is like bordering on real news, so I don't want to get into it too much because this is a goofy laugh 'em up show, and this has like serious like geopolitical implications.
Yeah,
but
there's nothing cool and fun about it.
Yeah, but it is tech related, so we should probably mention it.
I mean, there was that Sweet Baby Ray's in the background.
There was that picture of him with the Sweet Baby Ray's. I did find that.
It's his decorative sauce.
It was up on the bookshelf where you keep it.
Where humans keep their sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Zuckerberg. That's the sparks coming out of my neck.
Okay, is he a robot or a reptilian?
No, he's
Because I've heard
definitely
both.
a reptilian.
Yeah. Human-like sauce?
God, that picture him like testifying in front of Congress and how just awkward he looks.
He looked like a character from V.
I like to use this Sweet Baby Ray's to keep my egg sack warm.
He looked like at any moment like he would do like the double blink like from the first Men in Black.
Yeah.
You mean he blinked twice? No, he blinked with two different sets of eyelids.
I'm sorry, we should say allegedly
a lizard person.
reptilian. Allegedly.
Yeah, I hate for that, the secret cabal to get us.
Speaking of reptilians, there's a new show on Netflix called Inside Job, and it's by a woman named Shion Takuchi and produced by Alex Hirsch from Gravity Falls.
Yes.
It's pretty good. And it's about like a woman who works for a company that is the shadow government that controls the entire world.
Oh,
and it's a lot of
interesting.
like conspiracy jokes like that, but in a way that's not depressing like the guy from Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
But they actually, and I'm going to spoil a joke here, but it's also a joke that will make you want to watch the show.
Okay.
They're at a gala for lizard people, and they're talking about all the things the lizard people have accomplished recently, and they actually say, and we got K. Rool in Super Smash Brothers.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that show
Alex
now.
Hirsch is in this?
That's
He produced it, and I think he wrote on it on some episodes.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, no.
Because I was going like, am I going to watch this? Am I going to hear Hootie? Because I forget he's the voice of Hootie on the Owl House.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that show.
The first,
That's great.
like most adult animated shows, the first couple episodes are kind of like,
Oh, this is animated?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it keeps getting better continuously as they get into the characters. And
What was this
flesh
called
them out.
again?
Inside Job.
Okay.
Job. Okay, cool. Well, hey, listen, with that, we've actually hit time, so let's go ahead and wrap things up for the night. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon at Nerd Overload Now.
You can email us at staff@nerdoverload.com. Questions, comments, which celebrities you think are reptilians. And you can also give us a call at 586-372-8020. Leave us a message and we might play it on this show.
All right. We can also find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. And finally, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
This is not NPR.
This show was sponsored in part by MB Subculture Comics and Costumes.